resistant fighters.
What you're seeing is snippets from my arrival at Birmingham, as well as the steps I took to ensure that my race would be at its best. So if you want to get the director's cut of this video, become a track champion today.
So, as you guys can tell, I'm in Birmingham. I mean, I already knew I was in Birmingham, but I'm at the stadium. I've wanted to go to this track for so long because I've heard there is a warm-up track, and I'm here, and it feels so weird to know that if I look over there, I can see the stadium that I'm gonna be running on, and then just here I've got the warm-up track. That just feels weird to me. Usually I'm training, I can like cross over here. It's like Wales but better, because in Wales we only had like a 100-meter strip for like 4 lanes, maybe 5. But here I've got a whole 400-meter track. I just thought that was interesting to say. But I'm here on Friday with Christabel. Christabel's running, so that's why I'm here early. But I've still gone and got everything else that I needed. Can't get my bib yet until we get to Sunday. But I've done everything else. Looked around. No way. Sorry, so windy. But I know everything that I need to have, and I have it now, other than my bib. So effectively, when it comes to Sunday, I just need to get my bib, come here, warm up, and go. So I'll probably be back. I might show some of Christabel's races, I'm not sure. But if I don't, I'll be back on Sunday. So we're starting to warm up, and one thing I want to make sure that I do, everything that I've always done, the exact same things as normal. We don't want to invent the wheel now. Another meet, maybe I'll invent the wheel, try something new, especially when this is the most important national meet that I'm going to. We want to make things stay consistent and stagnant, so that the results that we get can be consistent and stagnant. We want the type of results that we're used to getting or better, and we can only get that through consistency. Trying something new when you think it isn't going to work. So for the warm-up, we do everything we normally do and everything we've been working on in training so far. It's quite hot, so as normal, the warm is a bit shorter than normal, and we just go through the motions, the phases, make sure my body's primed and ready to move how it needs to move. So about to start the race. It all comes down to this at the end of the day. I've trained all year for this one meet, not just to qualify what to do well. I want to get out of heats. I want to see some semis today. So heat 5, lane 4, we look at all my races. I tend to PB in 3 or 4. I'm finally out of lane 1 or 8 or whatever the lane 1 or whatever the most outer lane is. So we shouldn't have the normal stupidity we see from me around the bend. It should just be straight game, straight fire, straight action. So I'm gonna touch the track a bit more, then we're gonna get straight into it. Let's go. During the walkout on the block setup, I'm just trying to stay in my own lane and in my own head. Just trying to remember to do what I've always been doing. Do the things that have consistently resulted in the best results in all of my races, whether that is during the first season I ever competed or when I was breaking 22 for the first time. Because I know today is a 21-second day, and I just need to make sure that everything I did, not just in training, but during a warm-up today, can be replicated on the track. You can't allow mistakes. We're not chasing perfection, because when you try and chase perfection, you're going to make a mistake. What we are chasing is what we've always been doing, which is a smooth bend, open strides with a lot of power. 5th, 1.8, 22:01. So good things and bad things about the race. Let's start with good things for once. So we go around the bend. We was near the back. Well, we opened. It was already open. We opened up even more. We just hit turnover after turnover. I haven't really watched the race, but I feel like there was 7 people in my race, I think. And I feel like if I wasn't 7th, I was at best 6th. And then we pushed forwards to 5th. Because I watched Post my inside. He went past me on the bend, got onto the straight, flew past him. But now we get onto the cons, because there wasn't that many good things that happened with the race. Other than the fact that should have been a PB race, which we're going to go over through the cons. So we got out well for the first 3 steps. My best start of the entire meet was the warm-up, or the check, what do you call it? Just the saying the blocks before the race. Like, he was as horizontal as I could be, my hips and shoulders up, and I was like, beautiful. But we got into the race, the first 3 steps were good, and I think I started cycling a bit early. So we was going punch, 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 then we took a really long cycle. And as through everyone was going, Coast was like, it's over, it's over. It reminded me of my season opener for the 2 where we ran like 22, what was it, 2-2? Or 1-9, something like that. But I was like, okay, well that's fine, just trust what we've been doing. Move to the inside, run like that, do the hips, everything, cool. So I'm going, and then get to the bend. Like I said, I opened up straight, we're going. But then as I started getting close to the end, I was like, these guys are too far away. So I started kicking my legs out like that. And I felt so, I'm like, no, but it was too late to change it because I didn't have that many steps left. And then from there, race finished 22:01. First off, if anyone ever says that 1.8 was positive, I promise you that was negative. I was talking to the guys in the cool room and they were agreeing with me when I said, if that was positive, that was a crosswind, because there's no way I should be going around the bend with wind in my face. That, I'm feeling it now. Like there's no reason for me to be feeling wind coming at me that way, or even front on, and be translated to one of the biggest legal positive winds possible. So I don't believe that. But a lot of the mistakes that I made today were subpar. They were rookie mistakes on my part. I should know better. I can do better. So I know that that race should have been a PB based off how we were moving, but right now I think it's I'm not sure I'm going to do another 200. To put it this way, if I was to do a 200, I'm not going to do a 400. So I might make a poll and see what you guys think. But what do you call it? That should have been a PB, and if I don't get the PB done before the season ends, then we'll reserve it for next season. Everything that I've worked on throughout the entire season has kind of come together into this one race. Again, mistakes were made, but even still, I wouldn't be upset about the race. To qualify, I think it was like a 21.95 or 4, something like that. So some of these mistakes ended up resulting in not getting through to the semis. And I'm not too fussed. Reason being is, even if I did get through to the semis, if I ran similar to how I did in the heats, we wouldn't have qualified to the finals anyway. And when we were in the semis, we'd be in the back. So I'll take the light in knowing that my first English nationals, I almost qualified for nationals, or for the semis, making mistakes. And this is why I said, if I did any one of the mistakes that I said I did in the race, I removed that, it would have gone through 100%. So I'll be happy about that. Everything that I've worked on that led me up to this race, not just over the entire season, but between my best and worst race, which really just when I had food poisoning up until now, it's all culminated into this one meet. And whilst it was only ended up being one race, again, I couldn't be happier really, unless I got through the semis. Not too upset, I'll take this. All I know is, next time I'm here, if Nationals is at Birmingham, which it was last year, so I'm assuming it's going to be again this year or next year, everyone better be scared, because the speed we have this year, I'm going to be jogging that next year. I don't mean these repeat 22s, I mean 21.8. We'll be jogging like a 21.8 slowest, because that's just how I do things. I can't wait to put in the work and show the track that what I gave it today wasn't my best.
before the video ends, I'm going to give you guys your well-deserved responses to your comments that was supposed to either be videos, shorts, or whatever. I'm talking about it in this video, but pretty sure there's copyright music in the back, so I'm going to have to do a voiceover instead. We'll start off with Subing Chanfan 983, who says, yeah, it would be cool to see a series on how to run this race. I'm assuming you mean 60, 1, 2, and the 4. We'll start with the 60. The most important thing is how powerful you are. So if you want to run a really fast race there, power is the main thing. But then when we get to the technique, your block start, acceleration, and drive phase needs to be good. You don't have to transition that well to run fast, but the acceleration and the drive phase need to be as good as possible. And the way to do that is you come out the blocks, pushing straight forwards, not down into track, not up. You want to push with both feet in the pedals backwards so that you go straight forwards. Keep the shin angles low and slowly raise them up as you take each and every step. You want to make sure your steps are long but quick, because you want to be producing a lot of power, and along the power, more long steps. So you can take as little steps as possible, but you want to take your steps as quick as possible, and that's the real hard part. Once you figure out how to do that, you're going to be running really quick, but figuring that out is the real hard part, and that will take up the acceleration and the drive phase and a bit of the transition. There isn't much top end to really talk of. That takes you to the 100, where if you just continue from where we left off, you want to do the same thing with the 100, but the next part is where you want to finish. So in the 60, you would have reached your top end, but you wouldn't have really held it for long. Once you reach your top end speed, from here you want to just practically float. So when you're doing the sprint float sprints, if you've done those before, this would be the float phase, where you're not trying to push any harder. You maintain your technique and you just keep flowing, and you just get down to the track, you finish, and that's going to ensure that even if you don't have the highest top end speed out of the whole field, you slow down the slowest. And in the 100, it's not the fastest person that wins, it's the person who slows down the slowest that wins, as long as your top end speeds is around the same. Next, for the 200, the strategy is a bit different. You want to set your blocks either straight or slightly curved into the bend. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter which one you choose to do. I play around with them depending on specific race, how I'm feeling, but generally you'd recommend having a slight bend in side of the track. But if you're like me, you can't run well with it when you curve your blocks in and whatever. So drive out the blocks, and you want to ignore the bend for as long as you possibly can without swinging too wide. And from there, you want to shift your hips out, drop your left shoulder, and start moving your arms really hard and making sure that you open up, but you want to keep power. That's where I tend to make mistakes in my races, like you saw in this video. I open up, but we're not powerful, or I open up too quick. I need to make sure I go through the full drive phase, and it'd be the same for you, before we start to open up. So if you open up 1 centimeter too much, you're going to lose a bit of power, and that's going to cost you some time, because everyone's going to suddenly start to leave you. So go through the phases that you normally would in the 60 and 100, and don't rush it, especially considering the fact that you've got a longer distance to cover. So once you're open, now you want to float. Keep power. Get off the bend, hold the power, and then when you go onto the straight, any technical inefficiencies that would hinder your straight, you want to fix. So this is where you shift your hips back underneath your central mass, get your shoulders back in line, and making sure that your arms aren't making any stupid mistakes like swinging out too wide forwards or back. You want to keep them tight in the front, wide in the back, and then your legs will follow the same thing. And then from there, you're tired, you just haven't noticed you're tired. So again, same thing as what we said in the 100, you just want to float. Hold it, float. Don't try to speed up, whether that's through hitting the track any harder than you already have, or trying to move your legs any faster. Just let your body do the rest. If you've done the right things around the bend, even if you're even if you're behind, you're gonna pass some people. And if you've done a really good job, chances are no one's in front of you, and they're not going to catch you anytime soon. So for the 400, my race strategy there is run the first 200 harder than you normally would. You'd PB. It's pretty simple in that regard. So next is Jellybeans 3974. Workouts, weight, lifting and sprinting, more routine what you do on and off days, cues that help you and your reason to continue sprinting. Workouts, I'll give you some of my favorite ones that, not just favorite, but they actually help. So for weightlifting, Olympic lifts, I tend to do 3x5, 3x3, whether that's for the clean or the snatch or some variation of those two. For sprints, To get faster, I would do a lot of ins and outs and flies. My warm-up routine, I think you guys have had enough of that. It's changed again. It's mainly focused on actually warming up my body, getting mobile, and then priming myself so that I'm ready to run. What I do on an on day, you've already seen. What I do on an off day is pretty much nothing. If I feel like I need to stretch or use my leg massager or like a massage, I will. But if I don't feel like I need to do anything, I'll just let the DOMs hurt my body. Cues that helped me, I wouldn't really say there's any cues that help me specifically, because like depending on what we're talking about, it's quite broad. But the thing that made me get faster initially was figuring out how to turn A skips and scissor bounds into a sprint, and then figuring out how to use fast legs, which is a mix of both of those, to sprint. And the reason why I continue sprinting is I just want to get as fast as possible. If I can break the world record, I want to do that. And if I don't think I can, then I won't do that. But I need to get there to my genetic limit, or whatever you want to call it, and find out whether that's possible or not. Next question is from Jevon Sutherland 2515. How you balance university and training, when to prioritize and still keep on track of everything. When you got track, do track. When I had uni, do uni. If I need to set aside some time for one or the other, I set it aside, but I had it set aside in advance. I knew when to do what, and I still had time to do whatever I wanted beyond both of those. Sohel says, if you could do a detailed video about how to strength train for speed, it would have been really helpful. Little for someone who's really weak and have a little strength, what should his approach once he hit the gym, and how should he progress and periodize it over time? So can't do a detailed video, sorry about that, but the suggestion would be to just do what I did. So on my Patreon, I've got the training plan that I first followed when I first came to university, and that was my first proper well-structured training plan that I did. I think that's very beginner friendly and it's free. So if you don't really know what to do, or if what I'm saying isn't really sinking in, follow that. I pretty much follow that for the entire year. But you first start off as a bodybuilder who does Olympic lifting on the side, and then become an Olympic lifter who does bodybuilding on the side, and then you become a sprinter who does both of those. And the way you do that is you do the 3 basic lifts, so bench, deadlift, squats, but you also do Olympic lifts, and you learn the Olympic lifts. You're not trying to focus on weight at this point. You're trying to figure out how to actually do the movements, because the movements are quite hard. So how to do the full clean and jerk, how to do the full snatch. You're not going to need the whole thing, but you want to figure out how to do the whole thing, because the coordination you get from that is going to really help you when you come back to sprinting, because it doesn't matter where you learn coordination helps you no matter what you do. So the better coordinated you can be, the better you're going to be on or off the track. And from there, once you've figured out how to do the movement well enough, and I'd say you'd figure out the movement when you're close to doing 100 kilograms for the clean, then now is when you start to focus on actually trying to progress the weight, because technique will actually get the weight heavier as long as you do the right things. Start off doing 3x5, 3x3 for working sets. There's no need to go beyond that. Do deloads every like 4 to 6 weeks, depends on your body. If you want to progress, periodize it over time, then for example, let's start with prep. So during the preparatory period, your focus will be on the basic lifts, the main 3 that I just talked about. But then you get to indoors, you shift it more to the Olympic lifts, and then when you get to outdoors, it's pretty much solely focused on the Olympic lifts and staying quick. And the rep schemes doesn't really change, but the level of weight you do does. So you're going to start off with trying to lift as much weight as you possibly can, and then we're going to start to shift to Olympic lifts. So the overall volume you do is less. Then when you get to outdoors, the weight might drop by a bit compared to your max, and you focus on moving as quick as you can. And beyond that, for the periodization part, start at moderate weight for all of these exercises and add 1 to 2 kilograms every week or every other week, and you'll be fine from there. Final question from Luke Austin. The I is a 1. What is the best way to strengthen/stiffen tendons specifically? I assume you mean specifically for sprinting, and there's no specific way to strengthen tendons, because as long as you strengthen them, they're going to give you the results you want. But there's 4 main avenues that I'd give you that are feasible methods to go down. A lot of them you'd already want to be doing as a sprinter. So the first one is sprinting. Obviously, you're putting upwards of 4 to 6 times your body weight into the ground every single step, and the reason why that's happening is because of your tendons. And the more you sprint, the better you're going to get at sprinting, and the reason you're getting better is because of coordination, and also your tendons are getting better at doing their job. The next step would be plyometrics. This will teach you how to amortize Amortization is the middle phase between initial landing on the ground and coming off the ground. So doing plyometrics will shorten that phase because it's essentially just wastage, which will again stiffen your tendons and strengthen them. And beyond just the amortization portion, you've also got just landing on the ground and trying to push off the ground as hard as you can. When I say that, I mean like type of plyometrics you can do. Both of those will affect amortization whilst also boosting your efficiency through the amortization, but making it so that you can actually produce more force with every single step. Next would be isometrics. Isometrics pull on the tendon. The strong part of the tendon is going to be the initial contact when you're doing plyometrics and stuff like that, but there's weaker parts of the tendon. What the isometrics do is pull on the whole thing, and it brings the weaker parts to the front so that they can start to get more blood flow and strengthen themselves up. So once the weak part is strong, obviously you're going to be stronger. It's just like how if you strengthen up your quads, you're going to be able to lift more weight. But if you worked on the weaker muscles around that area, you're going to be able to lift the same weight easier and probably lift heavier anyway. And the final thing you can do is go to the gym and work on the muscle around the tendon. If you do that for 3 months at least, the tendon's going to get stronger anyway, which is why strong people tend to be able to move better, well, not better, but faster than weaker people. This isn't always the case because of the other reasons I just listed, which don't always give you a visible outlook on how they would be better than you. But if you see a sprinter and they've got more muscle than you, and we both have the same technique, chances are they'd be able to sprint faster than you could. And it's for reasons like this, but also because as a gym, the muscle is what attaches, or the tendon is what attaches to the muscle. So if the muscle gets better, the tendon, not really quick, but it will also get better because the tendon will have to support the muscle that you've grown, but it takes a while for the tendon to respond. So just like with the bones as well, the better the longer you give the tendon to develop towards the excess muscle, the stronger it's going to have to get, which would mean the faster you're going to be.